Good evening, everyone. Peace and blessings to you. My name is Reverend Leah Alvarado. I'm with New Thought Northern Colorado Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to the season for nonviolence. Every day we come together for a total of 64 days to practice a new principle of peace and nonviolence based on the wonderful work of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. So glad that you've joined me tonight. Today is day 63, and our topic is practicing nonviolence as a way of life. Gandhi said, when nonviolence is accepted as the law of life, it must pervade the whole body and not be applied to isolated acts. To be truly nonviolent, we must claim it in every part of our lives. As Gandhi said, it must become the law of life. That means our whole life, not just our public life or our spiritual life or our political life, not just our thoughts or our words or our actions. The law of life means every part of the life we are. The path of nonviolence, then, is the path of growing and evolving as an individual into the person who can live that law in all areas of life. That is why we talk about the path of nonviolence. It's our goal. None of us have likely achieved that goal yet. Having physical bodies, we have needs and desires in all the various areas of our lives. Having needs and desires means the fear of loss or of not getting what we desire will always drive us toward violence by our very nature. The evolution of humanity into a nonviolent species, then, begins with each of us in our own personal evolution. Our personal evolution means we must become aware of the urges, the desires, and fears that drive us to violence in all the various parts of our life. Only when we make a conscious effort to be truly aware of all our acts in all the areas of our lives can we truly begin practicing nonviolence as a way of life. So I only have one question today. Then in the chat, there we go. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Resin. Nice to have you both with me today. So here's the question. As the season for nonviolence comes to a close, what is one thing you are willing to do to practice nonviolence as a way of life? So we've been together for now 63 days. Tomorrow is our last day. And I've talked a lot about a lot of different topics. And so as this season of nonviolence of 64 days comes to a close, what is one thing, just one thing that you're willing to do to practice nonviolence as a way of life going forward from this point forward? What are you willing to do? So just take a moment to reflect on that. And if you'd like to put that in the chat, I'd love to see that. There's so many things that we can do, things that we can do that some are visible to the world and some are just within ourselves, within our heart, within our being. Practices that we can start that maybe we've been wanting to start, but we've been putting off. And as I've said all along, as we focus on our own evolution and development, that then impacts everyone around us. It impacts our families, our friends, our spiritual communities. It impacts the world because we're all connected. And so our energy goes out and transforms all. And so what's one practice that you're willing to do that maybe is different than you've been doing? Is there anything that, many of us meditate, many of us have a prayer practice, but is there something else, something specific that you're willing to do that maybe is different? Thanks, Annette. See the oneness in all of us while celebrating our diversity. Yeah. And so I'll just ask based on your comment, Annette. So how do you see the oneness in all? Because I'm assuming that physically you can't see it. It's not something you see. You recognize it. You recognize that we all are connected. But how do you see that? What action, I guess, more specifically, what action can you take or will you take to practice this? How would I know that you're doing this? If I were observing you, is there something that I would see? So I don't mean to put you on the spot there, but I think this is helpful for all of us. So if you want to add more to that, I encourage you to do so. Anyone else? Anyone else have any comments about an action that you're willing to take, that you're committed to taking? We've talked about commitment over these last 63 days. There's a difference between something you want to change, should be nice to change, should be nice to have peace and nonviolence in the world. It'd be nice, yes, we can all agree to that. Be nice to have different practices that are supportive to our life. But once you commit to it, that's a whole different energy. And so what's the commitment that's there? What are you willing to do no matter what? Now, we're human. We have days when it's easier than other days. So I get that. But there is a difference between what we're committed to doing and what we'd like to do. And so I'm inviting you to look at, what are you committed to doing differently? What are you committed to practicing that perhaps you haven't been doing up to this point? Thank you, Annette. By practicing listening to those with a different perspective. Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you, Resin. Forgive and learn from my mistakes. Yeah. And not just forgiving others, but forgiving, and it sounds like what you're saying is forgiving yourself. Yeah, that's such an important one. Much harder to do, to forgive ourselves and to forgive others sometimes. Tell someone, I love you every day. Oh, that's great, Dennis. Yeah. Yeah, I just experienced that today. I wanted to say that to somebody, a colleague I work with, and at CU Boulder, and I hesitated, and I'm not sure why I did. It's such a gift. It's such a gift to just say, and it comes from our heart. And when people hear that, they receive it, right? It's how could they not receive that? Committed to doing one act of kindness every day. Oh, that's wonderful, Annette. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's all commit to that. What's one act of kindness that we could do every single day? And it could be people in our lives. It doesn't matter who it is. People in our lives, strangers, a homeless person on the corner. I saw somebody sleeping on the corner in Boulder on the street, just sleeping on the sidewalk there. Yeah. Anyway, there's what's an act of kindness that we can take to support a community, to support people in our lives and those who are in our communities. The homeless population, as an example. The violence that took place here now almost 2 weeks ago. Are there things that we can do to show acts of kindness? So keep the ideas coming. I love it. Let's do our affirmative practice today. Let's say this together. Okay. I will meditate on nonviolence as the great law of life. And so when we meditate on these things, just pausing and just checking in with ourselves, what nonviolence means to each of us, what it feels like, what it would look like if we were to practice it in our life, meditating on that. Today, I will make my every action and every part of my life a conscious opportunity to practice nonviolence. And the key word there is conscious. Because when it's a conscious thing, we're awake, we're aware, we're very aware of what we're doing. We're not asleep. And so this whole work is giving us opportunities to be more conscious, to be more awake, to be more aware, to be more kind, to be more loving, to be more supportive, to the world that we live in, because we are all in this together. We are all banging around doing the best that we can, and let's be there for each other. Let's support each other and love each other through this journey. Thank you for being here. I'm going to just give us all a moment to just move into the silence and drop into our heart, to contemplate what has been said today, what has been read today, what has been heard. So let's take a deep breath, dropping into our heart, feeling the energy of nonviolence, feeling the energy of peace, and feeling that just extending out from your heart as an energy going out, surrounding anyone in your life right now that perhaps needs a little extra love, needs that energy. Maybe it's yourself. Just sending that out, surrounding the violence that has taken place on this planet over the last few weeks, surrounding every person on this planet who may be hurting right now, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually. We surround them. We surround them with the energy of nonviolence, with the energy of peace, the energy of love. We wrap them in this beautiful energy. We wrap them in loving kindness. And so let's just take a couple of moments of silence as we feel into this in a deeper way. And so gently coming back, taking another deep breath. And so I wish you a beautiful evening, a blessed evening on this Good Friday, as we head into Easter, a time of renewal, a time of transformation, a time of new beginnings. What a wonderful way to end our season for nonviolence. Tomorrow is our last day, day 64, and we're going to talk about creating a prayer for the world, a prayer for world peace. That's going to be our last topic. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your energy and your light. It's been a pleasure joining you each day. And so I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Have a blessed evening. Namaste. Good night, everyone.